Hi everyone again. Here we look at the first topic in AGR3WM slash AGR3MRP slash BVW318. And in this topic, as well as the second one, we look at classic marketing theory, which are really business and consumer analytical tools to see that we use to see where is our business and suite of products placed compared to our competitors and compared to where the consumer is, and secondly, what the consumer wants. And what the consumer wants comes down to our analytical tools focused at the consumer themselves. In topic 2, we look at SWOT analysis, which is predominantly inward focused analysis, where we look at where our business and our product is placed. And then after that, we look at consumer segmentation, which is all about analyzing the consumer base and seeing what group of consumers, or I suppose what subset of the planet, is interested in our product. Marketing overall is about finding the value in our product. The value being what someone will pay for it. So we need to, one, produce something of value or of potential value, and then find who sees that as valuable and will actually pay money for it. So some of the questions that we examine are: who are our customers at the moment, and who are our potential customers, our opportunities? What do our consumers actually want? What do our consumers or customers value? What are our organizational capabilities? Can we actually meet what the consumer sees as valuable? And finally, what are our goals? What are the goals of our organization? Do we want to maximize our returns? Do we want to maximize our returns for the environment? Or do we want to maximize our returns for society, or all three, which is known as the triple bottom line? Here, and I get you to look for yourselves, there's a brief example about Grays Online. Grays Online is a huge auction-based marketplace on the internet, which has gone from strength to strength. They have a wine division, and there's a case study there. And yes, it's to do with wine, but the principles there are universal. What are the great summaries of marketing in general, and particularly marketing in the rural environment, is by Annabella Dinnis, called Marketing and Innovation: Useful Tools for Competitiveness in Rural and Peripheral Areas. This is available to you through La Trobe Library portal. You just got to log in there. Find the European Planning Study, or the journal European Planning Studies, or you could probably search just for the title and it will come up and you can get a full text. But I've extracted a small part here. The success of any innovation, and consequently the competitiveness of firms, depends on its marketing orientation. So she points out here, the success of any firm or product within a firm depends on its ability to market it. And this marketing is not just about promotion, but it's about an overall view of the consumer and where that product is placed. And by that, and she describes that as our ability to adjust or anticipate market tendencies. So we need to know where the market is now. What does the consumer see as valuable? and what will they see as valuable in the future. And when we think about what will they see as valuable in the future, that will be both what will they need, but also will they see a competitor's product as more valuable. This is an important one. Strategy theory stresses the need for alignment between internal capabilities and external demands of the environment. So we need to ensure that our business has the capabilities within it or available to it to meet the market. There is no point, in other words, there's no point turning out a product that nobody wants. The classic example is those creating carts or carriages for horses at the turn of the 20th century. You could blindly keep producing wagon wheels, for example, till the cows come home. But if you didn't open your eyes and look at what was happening with the market, i.e. the introduction of the internal combustion engine and cars, you'll see that you wouldn't see that the market was changing. Sure, some people would sell some wagon wheels, but the volumes would be tiny and the competition would increase because the demand would be lower. So you need to make sure that your internal capabilities meet the demands of the environment, or in terms of this, the environment being the market. Resources, tangible and intangible. So resources, physical resources that we can turn into a product, and intangible resources, which is like intellectual property that knows how to produce this product, are combined through organizational routines, creating organizational capabilities. So what are these capabilities that help us meet this market? Well, it's ability to acquire the physical assets needed to produce the product, as well as having the know-how to do it. That creates our capabilities when we combine that with systems that allow us to go from raw product and acquisition of that through to the product, through to getting that product to market. So we need resources, both physical and know-how, tangible and intangible resources, and we need routines and protocols and processes within the organization to get that product made and to market. And then here is the big one. And then let me see if I can use a tool here. I haven't used these tools before. I'm going to go for it now. This could end in disaster. All right, I'm currently just drawing a line through what's something I wanted to highlight, but I'm going for it. Sometimes you just got to stick to your guns. There it is. If the capabilities are valuable to the consumer, there's that word value again, difficult to replicate, so hard to compete against, hard to acquire or appropriated by other parts in the long run, other parts of the market, they form the basis of sustainable competitive advantage and a superior economic performance. Obviously, it's hard to read because I've put a big red line through it. I'm not going to try and repair. Oh, there we go. So if the capabilities are valuable to the consumer, difficult to replicate, acquire, or appropriated by other parts in the long run, so that's other parts of the competitive landscape, they form the basis of a sustainable competitive advantage and a superior economic performance. So if we want to outcompete the competition and we want to make lots of money, we need to have a product that's valuable to the consumer and difficult to replicate or compete against. We can make something that's valuable to the consumer and difficult to replicate, but we need to get that message out there, and that is our marketing. The final line, I'm just going to draw a circle around it. Please read the rest of it, but then this bottom bit here, I think my days of using this highlighter are limited. Thus, in the process of innovation and increased competitiveness of rural firms, it is necessary to develop technological but also marketing and strategic knowledge, and see in brackets, and mainly marketing and strategic knowledge. Thus, the analysis of market trends and potential valuable resources is fundamental and will guide the strategic choice. So there it is. Competitiveness of rural firms is about developing a product that people want, but importantly, making smart marketing decisions based on a strategic understanding of the market. So we need to know the market. We need to work out how to sell the value to that market, and we need to make sure our product is of value. Great little article. If nothing else, make sure you read and go through each of the sentences that I've extracted there. What is marketing? So marketing, well, the promotional component of marketing, where we actually advertise our product, has been around for at least 2,000 years and probably more. Here's an example from China of 4th to the 11th century BC. So that's 3,000 years ago. Just feels like yesterday. But marketing as an overall concept, which includes analysis of the consumer, analysis of our product, and looking at where the value is, as well as the promotion, has really only been codified and discussed as the general school of marketing since about 1900. The difference between advertising and marketing is, as I just described, and in Bartel's 1976 goes through the actual history of marketing thought beginning in the early 20th century. And Bartel's condenses down to 3 key discoveries that really helped springboard the concept of marketing. The first one, highlighted in red, so I don't need to tortuously use the highlighter again. Demand for a product consists of more than simple purchasing power. It reflects desire as well as ability to purchase, and new experiences with advertising and salesmanship were proving that desire could be increased and molded by factors other than mere existence of supply. So back when we were an agricultural-based society, living in villages and small towns, there was generally a single product. And you bought something if you had the money for it and the need, but that was it. But as we've become technologically advanced, more advanced with the industrialization of society, all of a sudden it became more than just having the ability to buy something. You had some discretionary power. So you bought something if you wanted to. You chose to buy something. And also, you had the opportunity to pick which of a particular product category was most valuable to you to choose to spend your money on. So demand was no longer simply dictated by a core requirement. Demand actually started being influenced by this wider concept of desirability. Really interesting video about the concept of choice and desirability and this movement from buying for need to buying for want, sort of voluntary want. Great video at the bottom of this one called The Paradox of Choice. I believe it's a TED Talk. Really interesting one I happened upon many years ago. Absolutely loved it. It has long been held that competitive forces would normally, in the long run, dissipate tendencies of disequilibrium, but as competition diminished in some industries and trades, the assumptions found in traditional economic theory became increasingly invalid. Now, that's quite complicated. But what it's essentially saying is that it was believed that competition in the long run would always allow for multiple players to exist within a market and for central principles of economics to always apply. However, with changes in technology, often we get a hidden reduction in competitiveness. And the example that I've put here is with Amazon. Amazon is just another marketplace of many selling different items. So, for example, the corner store sells sponges. Amazon sells sponges. However, we may not know it, but Amazon actually is developing a monopoly in the sale of a lot of these items because the societal expectations of logistics and price are changing, and only companies like Amazon can meet them. And the reason that companies like Amazon can meet them is because they're helping set this new expectation. So now people are expecting things to arrive at their door the next day for free, for the normal price or maybe a slightly discounted price. Unless you are the size of Amazon and have those internal capabilities, you can't meet that expectation. Therefore, a monopoly is forming in the distribution of many, many goods. So therefore, some of the central principles of economics and marketing are breaking down because we no longer have a truly competitive environment. We'll be discussing how marketing meets these new monopolies in a later topic. The last one, traditional belief was that cost was the principal determinant of price, at least in the long run. Concepts of elasticity of demand were still another influence upon the thinking of early students in marketing. Alfred Marshall, a huge name in marketing, Alfred Marshall's concept of the elasticity of demand has long been used by marketing writers as a theoretical basis for selling, advertising, and the promotional work of marketing in general. So, it was once held that the price of something was purely dictated by the cost of production. This is called cost plus pricing. We're going to have a whole topic on pricing. So if something costs $2, you sell it for $4. If it's something costs $3 to make, you sell it for $6. $5, you sell it for $10. However, it was discovered that actually altering the price changes the demand of a product, and we can actually use it as a marketing tool. So the elasticity of demand theory states that as something goes down in price, demand will increase. As price goes up, demand will decrease. However, with some products, they actually buck that trend. Demand increases as price increases. We'll be looking at those in the pricing topic and talking more about the elasticity of demand. However, it was discovered that price was a really important part of marketing itself. So again, these are all expanded visions of selling. So once it was all about just advertising, but now it was actually about more broader concepts. What are we going to price it? Why are we going to price it that much? Who is our consumer that will allow us to price it at that level? What is our stock levels? Can we meet the demand if we price it at that amount? Competitiveness. Who are our competitors, and how is our marketing going to help us meet those competitors? So all of this thought brought us to what are now the central tenets of marketing, first proposed in the 1940s, called the marketing mix, or the 4 Ps. The 4 Ps are what all marketing is based around. Product. What are you actually physically selling? 2, people. Who do you have selling the product? Place. Where can consumers access the product? Promotion. What advertising is being used to promote the product? The 4 Ps were eventually converted to the 7 Ps, which we'll be talking about on the next page, and I invite you to read. But they're really an expansion of the 4 Ps. And the 4 Ps are our first look at a method, a standardized method for structuring marketing activities. First of all, and really a great one to actually ask yourself, what are you actually physically selling? In our first report, we're also asking, what are you actually selling? So sometimes, say, Coca-Cola, they're physically selling a soft drink, but what they're trying to do is actually sell a lifestyle. So in their advertisements, they've constantly got young, beautiful people having a great time. So they're selling that lifestyle, that aspirational lifestyle. They're not really selling a soft drink. They're using the soft drink to sell that lifestyle. People, who do you have selling the product? A classic one. In the John Deere example down here, John Deere has made a decision. Do we want to do the selling, or are we going to get other people to sell it for us? In John Deere's case, they have other people selling it for them. They have other people selling the physical product for them. A network of distributors. However, John Deere still help sell the message of John Deere, which helps them sell the physical product. So just because they've got other people selling the product for them, the physical interface with the consumer, John Deere still has a huge role in selling the brand itself, which helps sell the product. So an analysis of who the people are is really important. Place, where can consumers access the product? Now, this is getting more complex with the rise of online sales. What products are best sold online? What products are best sold physically? What products could actually be sold online, but the consumer has resistance to buying them online? Think about clothing as a great example. For a long time, people resisted buying clothing online, and physical retailers thought that barrier was too great for online to surmount. But now people are getting more confident with that, and it's crossed a threshold where now people buy a lot of clothes online. And finally, promotion. See, promotion's only the fourth thing on this list. What is the actual advertising being used? So I'm going to look at power drills on Bunnings. So what is the physical product? What are you physically selling? Who do you have selling the product? Where can consumers access the product? What advertising is being used to promote the product? So all these are at Bunnings. Place. So Bunnings, we have the place. People, one, the salespeople at Bunnings. Two, the copywriters writing the advertising material on the Bunnings website. Three, we have people using the product influencing others. Brand champions. We'll be talking about that in a later topic. Product. What are you actually physically selling? So in the Bunnings environment, I find analysis of how Bunnings sells things absolutely fascinating, because they get the brands or the product or the companies themselves to actually do a lot of the copywriting and advertising, and Bunnings just provide the vehicle for it. So we can see how companies selling pretty much exactly the same product position themselves differently to sell their product in a highly competitive environment. And you think about at Bunnings, all those different brands are all in the one spot. So how are they getting a person to buy one particular product or their product and not another one? So what are you actually physically selling is one of the only big ones available to people selling in Bunnings, along with price, which comes in to the 7 Ps. Just quickly, actually, I'll go to the 7 Ps are just down here. Product, price, place, promotion, people. So we've looked at product, place, promotion, and people. The 7 Ps we add price. What's the effect of the price on the marketing? Process, what logistics is involved in getting the product to the consumer? Physical evidence, how does your product look and how does that affect the perception of the product? So really, it's actually these extras in the 7 Ps which become vitally important, certainly in these modern marketing environments of these superstores. So let's have a look at Bunnings. Let me search here. Tools, power tools, drills. Let's have a look at what a company has in front of them to sell their drill. So straight away we go to this website. So let's say we're doing some research before we go to the store. But when we go to the store, we see all these brands all in one spot anyway. Straight away we have 4. All the things look pretty much exactly the same. So how do these particular companies cut through to find a little niche for themselves within this market? Straight away we see different colours and we see different prices. They all pretty much look like they're structured the same at this point, or they're manufactured the same. So we have big differences in price, big differences in colour. Let's go through from cheapest to most expensive. Ozito. Black and red. Let's have a look at the writing. So cheap product, $49.98. Let's look at some of the words they use to show what product they're actually selling. What are you actually physically selling? Price. All right. First of all, price, cheap. What are they actually telling the consumer they're selling? Well, first of all, compact and lightweight. Then the big one, home DIY. So they hit those terms which we're familiar with for a non-trade environment, something we feel comfortable using in the home. So we got comfort words here. Home DIY, perfect. I don't want to spend a lot, $49.98. Oh yeah, I can use this in the home. It reinforces my decision. Compact and lightweight makes it seem easy to use for people who haven't been trained necessarily in the use of these. So Ozito, it's telling it's straight out, cheap product, use it in the house. Ryobi, charging a little bit more, almost 3 times the price. Simple, making people feel comfortable. Household, so using the term house again, maintenance jobs. Ryobi products are known for easy to use, even if you're a complete novice, making you feel comfortable. But hang on, they're charging more. So how are they trying to get away with that? All right, we start front-ending some of the specifics and more tech speak. 10mm drill driver. A lot of people won't even know what that means. It sounds complicated. 2 batteries, dual chemistry charger. Again, very few people in the market for this drill know what that means, but it makes them feel like they're buying something more sophisticated. So it's Ryobi. They're charging 3 times the price, and they're just adding that little bit extra. Bosch. So we start moving up. We could talk all day about these companies maintaining their German names. But first of all, let's go. So Bosch, a little bit more expensive, comes with less and costs a little bit more. Instead of talking about home straight away, it talks about powerful motor. So this is still really a home product and maybe an entry-level trade product. But it's getting people to pay that more by putting emotive terms at the start. Powerful motor, compact design. Then we go up again. Makita, classic tradies drill, $249. Straight away we get all discussion about making people confident at home, and says it and goes straight out, designed to suit the needs of all tradespeople. Straight away you start seeing a lot more technical terms, without explanation. All metal gear, classic example. High durability, hitting terms that no longer mean anything to the home user, but mean a lot to a tradesperson who needs reliability. Then we go up to the Bosch Pro range. Expensive again. And again, we go straight into things that tradespeople will understand. Powerful drilling into masonry and concrete, cruise through timber and steel, hitting those tradesperson terms. So here we can see this in a really quick snapshot of power drills, how these companies have only got one of the 4 Ps really to market themselves. That's what are we actually selling? And we can, again, in very quick quick and dirty way, have a look at some of the marketing terms they use to reinforce that. Some drills won't even sell themselves at Bunnings. They'll go to trade-only stores. So they actually start positioning themselves to their consumer about where they're being sold. So here's a classic one. Here's the Festool one, more expensive again. And here in the discussion, it's not even reinforcing to a tradie that this is a drill for a tradesman. It's just straight into the technical term. Lots of numbers that turn home users off straight away and gives it to what their target audience is after. So in this case, this company is not only using product, what are we actually selling? They're actually using place as well. They're using place as a marketing tool. We're not going to be sold in Bunnings. We're going to be sold in stores which are seen more for the professional. So take yourself through the topic 1 notes. Obviously, as I said before, as I stressed, that is just a very quick example. There's a couple of examples in the notes. And there's also some discussion about organizational approaches to marketing. But this is our first step in using analytical tools in a marketing perspective.